The media has been complicit in an unethical practice of journalism. The Washington Post should be a co-conspirator in this case because they published an allegation that was not supported by a finding of court that was about criminal violence, to allege that somebody had domestic violence. Even my mother said to me, after having watched me, report on story after story, they didn't even call Johnny Depp for comment. She knows what fairness means in journalism. And the ACLU wrote the op-ed for Amber Heard, and they too are complicit, as is this entire industry that has emerged over the last decade to put forward this unjust phenomena that's called Believe Her.
I mean, on the other hand, though, the Me Too movement didn't come from nowhere. It sprang
Right.
out of decades of sexual harassment and sexual assault with impunity by overwhelmingly men.
It's powerful men.
Powerful men, and some men not powerful who do have power over the person that they're abusing. And yes, it's true that there are cases of women abusing men, of women abusing women, but overall, let's not kid ourselves. It's 90+% that men are the abusers in these cases. And it feels like there has been an urge to call Me Too an overreaction and to basically reverse all of its gains from the very beginning, and that the same kind of element that was allowing those decades of abuse to go on unchecked was just lying in wait for the kind of energy to subside so that there could be a pushback against it. What do you do to make sure that the legitimate and real and justified gains of the Me Too movement aren't wiped away in this backlash?
And Asra, I would even add a caveat to that. Like, you've done reporting on Time's Up, for instance, which is a good example. Like, one way to not reverse the legitimate gains is to not build up corrupt infrastructure in support of those gains. And I feel like that was a huge misstep right out of the gate.
Oh, completely. And so going back to, the point that you made earlier about the mob, we cannot have a mob that oppresses women, as has happened through the centuries in society by individuals and by society. I mean, no doubt there has been great injustices against women that have never seen the light of day when it comes to justice. But we cannot have justice with injustice. And that is where this movement has taken us, where the mob rule has meant that you just shout from the rooftop and argue in the court of public opinion about, the bad conduct of an individual, usually men. The phenomena of naming and shaming would silence women in so many years. It was, called slut shaming. Women were called either nuts or sluts if they were to bring forward sexual harassment or domestic violence charges. But we cannot do the same on the other side. And unfortunately, again, the media is complicit in this by giving a stage over the last day to Amber Heard's attorney as she continues, this shameless campaign to defame Johnny Depp. I mean, she didn't learn her lesson, and that is, ultimately where society has to do just what it has done now in saying resoundingly, look, we just want due process.